Yeah, yeah. It's a little ways. It's a little ways out. Well, I guess it was to me. Maybe everybody else. The book thing.
You're famous now, man.
How you doing?
Okay, we're here today with Mr. Emory Douglas. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Okay, we're gonna open up the interview with odd question first. First, we heard you're a vegan or vegetarian. How long have you been vegan or vegetarian? Was it for a health issue, or a lot of people want to know if was it for animal rights issue?
Well, I started my journey. I started my journey in 1980. Maybe I backslid a little bit at the beginning, but I'm a vegan. And then we were talking about the quality of food, and particularly pork being bad for you and those kinds of things. And some comrades in the Black Panther Party, and on my birthday in 1980, I believe 79 or 80, gave me a vegetarian cookbook. It's one of these hippie cookbooks that everything was made from soybean, and that opened a whole new world to me in relationship to how you can fix the food itself. Yeah.
Also, your artwork from the old Panthers Day. What were you inspired by? Were you inspired by any other artists, or were you taking art classes? Or?
Well, I'm basically self-taught. I went to City College of San Francisco for several years and took up commercial art. So and when you take up commercial art, you get to learn the disciplines of figure drawing, design elements, painting, all the different things going to putting a publication together. So that was the basis of my foundation and then I was able to take that to when I got involved with the Black Panther Party, and it was like on the job training and developing as the artwork and the paper and stuff evolved and developed.
I noticed your art also deals with all social issues, including the Middle East and Palestine and stuff like that. What other social issues do you cover now?
Well, as much as some things stay the same. So still dealing with those issues in the context of what's going on today, and how people are talking about them, and getting in international solidarity with indigenous folks and land rights around the world. You know, still dealing with the issue of homelessness and gentrification. All those things are part of police murder and being justified, the legal system, all those things.
Yeah, especially gentrification, what's going on and stuff. What is your best fond memory of the Panther Party from the old days?
Well, it's serving the people in the community, and enlightening and informing and educating the community about their basic quality of life issues that they had a right to. Yeah.
How would you compare what's going on now, the movement now, with the younger generation from the old days?
Well, it's come out of a whole other dynamics, context. You know, we're 50 years, over 50 years ago. Today, youngsters have come out the womb with learning computers and technology.
Yes.
In the context of the way that we didn't have it then. You know, so you got that. You got a whole other world of hip hop that was inspired maybe by the spoken words of Gil Scott and others back in the day. But then you got a whole other context for it. So that's the difference, is the context. And dealing with they're more worldly and a broader way than just the Black Panther Party was then, even though we were a universal organization that people were inspired by then. Yeah.
Some people say that nowadays it's like hard to organize. I mean, they could get people out to the rallies and stuff, but not like how you guys did in the old days, getting the community like weekly meetings and group studies, like out like that. How did you guys do that in the old days like that?
Well, then you had more of a community. You had communities that were still not broken up by gentrification, right. Not broken up by the class difference and all those things in many ways. So you have that today. You have a whole other middle class that's been created by the system that has no relationship in many ways to those who are common folks on a daily basis.
Yes. Can you also tell us about Huey? What was Huey like?
Well, Huey, it was a very insightful person. I met him early on in the Black Panther Party. He was very, what you can say is that Huey and Bobby Seale had courage because they could have been wiped off the map before they even got off the ground.
Right.
So in that context, yeah. So in that context, you're talking about it in the context of courage. They had a lot of courage. Was a very articulate person. Was very focused at the time that needed to be focused, and it was just a down-to-earth person to myself, in that context, yeah. But if there were other questions in a longer interview, perhaps I could talk and tell you more.
All right, thank you. Last comment. Any suggestions or comments to the younger generation who wants to organize and work with all types of different groups, kind of like trying to do the Rainbow Coalition stuff? Any suggestions?
Well, you have to work at it. That's the only way you can do it. You can talk about it, but you got to put it into practice. And then when you put it into practice, you can sum up the experience and how you can work together. But you got to lead by example. You have to be inspired to want to do it and to make change. And the combination of a coalition, of solidarity, but that has to be not for the fun of it, but you do it because it's necessary and is needed in order to make change and transform the mindset of how maybe elders or older generations have. Yeah.
Okay. What if a group has a different politics and stuff like that? How do you work with it?
Well, we work around commonality. You have different groups come together. You can have an assembly where different groups come together. And maybe perhaps some of the group or collective to decide on what to outline, how we could work together. And then they take that back to their general membership. And then you come together, hash it out. It's a process. It's not like you just come together. There's always going to be differences because we live in a society of exploitation. So the psychological impact of that on individuals, even in the movement, is still there. We haven't transformed ourselves. We're in the process of transforming ourselves. So we're going to have all kind of negative attitudes and all kind of stuff to come in the context that we'll have to deal with. And so we have to come together around resolving those issues and understanding what the commonality that we have and working together to move forward.
Okay. Thank you for all the work you did from the past to present to now.
Okay. Thank you much.
All right.
Okay,
bye.
right.